Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we've gone back in time to the Jesuit mission to China, around 1582. During this time, Matteo Ricci, an Italian Jesuit, came to China by boat and brought with him many other Jesuits to begin his mission's work to bring the Jesuit Christianity to China. Jesuit Christianity, otherwise known as the Society of Jesus, had a goal to find God in all things. Today here, we have with us Matteo Ricci himself to tell us of the experiences, his beliefs, and why he thought he should bring them to China. But stay tuned, as later on we will have a special guest. Without further ado, welcome Ricci.
Hi, happy to be here.
Okay, then let's jump right in then. So we know that in 1582 you came to China in hopes of spreading Jesuit Christianity. But what distinctive beliefs or ideas of yours adapted to the local population there?
Well, the main goal of the missionaries was to convert people to Christianity. So we were accommodating to and adapting to the culture of the Chinese while still preserving Christianity as much as possible. So missionaries were required to research the language and culture of the Chinese before going on their trips. In China, masses were held in the Chinese language and in Chinese clothing. Christian beliefs were compared to and adapted to Confucianism in order to establish a relation and an understanding between the missionaries and the Chinese. In terms of art and architecture, the Confucian Chinese valued their ancestors and believed that they watched over them during the Mass. So, icons of the ancestors were present. This presence of icons conflicted with the Christian beliefs, but we accepted it because our main goal was to convert. Other than that, I tried to fit into the Chinese culture, so I lived like a Chinese scholar by acting like, eating like, and dressing like them. This helped me conform to the norms of China, but negatively affected the Jesuit vow of poverty because the way I dressed was in the way of the highest social class of China and did not embrace poverty at all. Furthermore, due to the slight language barrier, some of the main themes of Christianity were at risk for quite literally getting lost in translation. So in that way, some beliefs were inadvertently adapted to the Chinese culture.
That's very interesting. By including both Chinese and Christian traditions together, you were able to come to an agreement with one another. But speaking of agreements, in this photo here, it looks like there's you and someone else standing side by side. Who is this man next to you?
His name is Xu Guangqi. He was a bureaucrat and scholar during the late Ming Dynasty. Not only was he Catholic, but he was a great friend of mine and the other missionaries.
That's very nice. Now, moving on to the topic of Christianity, today we have our guest, Abby. She's here today to talk about Christianity in China today. So, Abby, is Christianity still around in China? If not, why? And if it's still in China, can you tell me if there's any changes or if it's still the same?
Ever since 1949, the new China was atheistic. There were anti-Christian policies, and the fact that were later intensified in 1951. The president at the time, Mao Zedong, paused most of the missionaries coming to China.
So does that mean that Christianity is completely gone in China?
Well, I wouldn't exactly say that, but modern China did have a renewed interest in religion right after the Cultural Revolution. The Cultural Revolution affected many Christians because many places of worship were demolished, closed, or reappropriated. Religious practices were banned in China, and the Chinese government removed everything and peered to their native country. Christianity did end up rising again in the 1980s, where it is believed to have around 6 million Christians at the time. Christianity was one of the fastest growing religions in China. With this, it's estimated that about 180 to 200 million Christians are in China right now.
That's amazing. It's nice to see that after all this time, Christianity never died out in China and the people kept their faith. Although I do have to ask, how do you think the native population embraced the religion at first? Did they accept it, or do you think they felt they should reject it?
If you don't mind, I'd like to say something on this. Native scholars valued the teachings of Confucianism very much, and therefore had a hard time accepting Christianity at first. I and my fellow Jesuits had to establish a rapport with the Chinese scholars, leaders, and individuals before we were accepted as well as Christianity was accepted. Overall, Christianity was eventually well received, as long as there were accommodations made that satisfied the beliefs of the Chinese scholars who previously practiced Confucianism. When these accommodations were not made, however, Christianity was again banned. Specifically, when the Vatican rejected the aspect of the new masses in China that included reverence for ancestors, that was unacceptable to the Chinese officials and Christianity was banned.
Are there any examples of native-born saints or reverend figures in this tradition?
Yes, there are examples of native-born saints or revered figures in this tradition. In fact, it is stated in the book China's Saints, Catholic Martyrdom During the King, that 119 other missionaries and natives of China were canonized by Pope John Paul II.
I have one last question for you then. Are indigenous persons included among the leadership or clergy of the community?
Yes, the goal of the missionaries was to convert the individuals to Christianity and have it continue to grow once their mission had ended. So, indigenous persons were included among the leadership/clergy in the spread of Christianity in China.
Very nice. Abby, do you have any commentary to add?
Yes, I believe that making a report was a very important thing to occur because instead of the Jesuits coming in and forcing their religion onto the Chinese natives, they made a bond with them to be accepted and be able to spread their religion in peace.
Very nice. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you for joining us on our adventure back in time to the Jesuit mission to China. See you guys next time.